Ladies and gentlemen, today, I want to talk about something that stands between you and your success, something that quietly sabotages your dreams, slows your growth, and keeps you from becoming the person you're truly capable of being. These are the 5 enemies of progress, and understanding them is the first step toward defeating them. Excuses are the silent killers of progress, the invisible chains that bind potential and keep dreams locked away in the realm of someday. Every time we find a reason not to act, every time we justify why something cannot be done, we are handing our power to circumstances, to other people, or to forces outside our control. Excuses are comfortable. They give us a false sense of security, as if avoiding responsibility shields us from failure or disappointment. Yet, in truth, excuses are the very things that guarantee stagnation. They whisper lies to our minds, convincing us that we are powerless, that the conditions must be perfect, or that someone else's approval is required before we can move forward. The moment we say, "I can't because the timing isn't right," or "I don't have the resources," we are choosing inaction over action, fear over courage, and hesitation over growth. Each excuse builds a wall between where we are and where we want to be. It becomes a habit, a pattern that repeats itself in every decision we make, slowly defining who we are not by our abilities, but by the limitations we allow ourselves to accept. Excuses disguise themselves as reasonable explanations, but they are nothing more than avoidance dressed in rational thought. They feed our doubts and keep us clinging to comfort, even when discomfort is the doorway to achievement. Excuses can take many forms: the "I don't have enough time," the "I'm not ready yet," or the "I'll start tomorrow." Each one carries a subtle poison, eroding confidence and postponing opportunity. When we allow excuses to dominate our thinking, we create a life dictated by circumstance instead of choice, a life where potential is measured not by action, but by what could have been. Recognizing excuses is the first step toward breaking free. It requires brutal honesty with oneself, the willingness to confront the truths we often avoid, and the courage to see that we have more control than we give ourselves credit for. Progress begins when we stop blaming situations, other people, or lack of resources, and instead take ownership of our decisions and our actions. Every success story, every accomplishment, every breakthrough begins with the refusal to let excuses dictate the path. Action, no matter how imperfect or incomplete, is always more powerful than rationalized inaction. Momentum is built not when conditions are ideal, but when a decision is made, a step is taken, and consistency becomes a habit. Excuses shrink our vision, limit our potential, and rob us of the opportunities we deserve. But recognizing them, confronting them, and refusing to give them power opens the door to growth. The journey toward achievement is paved with decisions that defy excuses, with a commitment to responsibility and accountability that refuses to settle for less, and with the understanding that progress is the natural result of choosing action over avoidance, courage over comfort, and responsibility over blame. Procrastination is one of the most subtle and dangerous enemies of progress because it disguises itself as harmless delay, as a small postponement that seems insignificant in the moment, but over time it accumulates into lost opportunities and unrealized potential. Every time we say, "I'll do it later," we are surrendering the power of now, giving away precious moments that could have been used to move forward. Procrastination convinces us that waiting for the perfect moment, the ideal circumstances, or the right mood is necessary before taking action. But in reality, perfect moments rarely exist. Life does not pause for preparation, and progress does not wait for comfort. The more we give in to procrastination, the more it becomes a habit, a pattern that conditions our minds to delay rather than act. It whispers that small delays are harmless, that tomorrow will be just as good as today, yet tomorrow often brings more distractions, more excuses, and more reasons not to start. Procrastination steals not only time but also confidence and momentum, because each postponed action feeds self-doubt and erodes belief in our own capabilities. It creates a mental block where tasks seem larger, harder, and more intimidating than they truly are, simply because they have been put off. The paradox is that starting, even imperfectly, is always easier than imagining, planning, and worrying about the delay. Action has a way of creating clarity and energy that cannot be achieved by thinking alone. Every great achievement, every meaningful goal, is the result of consistent steps taken, not of waiting for conditions to be ideal. Momentum is built by doing, by showing up, by committing to the process even when motivation feels low or the timing feels inconvenient. Procrastination often thrives in the guise of business, filling our days with distractions, minor tasks, or endless preparation while the truly important actions are deferred. It feeds on hesitation, fear of failure, and the illusion of abundance of time, convincing us that we have plenty of hours ahead, when in truth, every moment delayed is a moment lost forever. The antidote to procrastination is not motivation alone, because motivation comes and goes, but discipline and deliberate action. By breaking tasks into manageable steps, setting deadlines, and taking immediate action, we reclaim the time that procrastination tries to steal. Every small decision to start now, to move forward despite discomfort, chips away at the power of delay and builds the confidence and habit of progress. Those who achieve extraordinary results understand that waiting is a luxury they cannot afford, that action, even imperfect action, always produces more than delay, and that the difference between stagnation and success is often measured not by talent or opportunity, but by the ability to act promptly, consistently, and decisively. Time once lost cannot be recovered, and procrastination ensures that our dreams drift further away each day. It is allowed to dominate. But choosing to act, choosing to start, and choosing to move forward transforms time into a powerful ally, turning moments into achievements, ideas into results, and intentions into reality. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality, the quiet force that transforms good intentions into tangible results. And it is often the difference between those who achieve greatness and those who remain trapped in frustration and unfulfilled potential. Talent, intelligence, and ideas alone are never enough. Without discipline, they remain dormant, like seeds scattered on barren soil that never receive the care or attention needed to grow. Discipline requires consistency, repetition, and the willingness to do what needs to be done, even when motivation fades, when energy is low, and when circumstances are less than ideal. It is not glamorous, nor is it always enjoyable, yet it is the foundation upon which all progress is built. Those who practice discipline understand that success is rarely a sudden event. It is a collection of small, daily choices, each one shaping the trajectory of a life. Discipline means committing to a schedule, honoring priorities, and refusing to be swayed by distraction, temptation, or short-term gratification. It is the choice to show up every day, to put in the work, and to follow through on promises made to oneself, even when no one is watching. Without discipline, even the best laid plans crumble because action is inconsistent and progress is sporadic. With discipline, however, momentum grows steadily, and small victories compound into major achievements over time. Discipline is also the master of self-control, teaching patience, focus, and resilience. It allows individuals to resist the urge to quit, to avoid shortcuts that sacrifice long-term results for immediate comfort, and to maintain a steady course even when the path seems difficult or progress appears slow. It creates a mindset where challenges are met with determination rather than frustration, where obstacles are seen as opportunities to strengthen resolve rather than reasons to retreat. Every habit of discipline strengthens character, reinforces confidence, and builds a sense of personal power, because each act of consistency proves to oneself that progress is possible, that goals are attainable, and that control over one's destiny lies within one's own hands. Discipline also shapes priorities, ensuring that energy is focused on activities that yield meaningful results, rather than scattered across trivial pursuits. It turns abstract dreams into actionable steps, plans into routines, and ambition into measurable outcomes. The power of discipline lies not only in doing what is necessary, but in doing it with commitment, with persistence, and with an understanding that effort invested consistently will always produce returns greater than sporadic bursts of energy or inspiration. Those who fail often do not lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. They lack the discipline to apply these resources consistently over time, to push past discomfort, to show up day after day, and to persevere even when results are not immediately visible. Discipline teaches the value of delayed gratification, the importance of preparation, and the rewards of diligence. It creates a life of structure, focus, and purpose, transforming dreams into accomplishments, intentions into reality, and potential into performance. The people we surround ourselves with, the conversations we engage in, and the environments we inhabit all play a powerful role in shaping our mindset, our choices, and ultimately our success. Negative associations are like heavy anchors, holding us back from reaching our full potential, whispering doubt, fear, and limitation into our thoughts when we should be hearing encouragement, inspiration, and possibility. Every relationship, every influence, every voice that we allow close to us either lifts us higher or drags us lower. Spending time with those who constantly complain, criticize, or doubt not only drains energy, but also conditions the mind to accept limitation as normal, to believe that progress is difficult or unattainable. On the other hand, aligning with individuals who challenge, inspire, and encourage growth fuels motivation, sharpens focus, and fosters resilience. Negative associations often disguise themselves as familiarity or loyalty, making it difficult to recognize their true impact. We tell ourselves, "These are my friends, my family, my colleagues. It's just the way things are." But the truth is that the quality of our connections has a direct effect on the quality of our results. Influence is powerful because human beings are inherently social creatures. We absorb attitudes, beliefs, and habits from those around us. If we spend the majority of our time with pessimists, procrastinators, or people who settle for mediocrity, we inevitably adopt similar patterns, often unconsciously. Negative associations limit imagination, reduce ambition, and make challenges seem insurmountable. They feed fear, magnify doubt, and create a mindset where excuses and rationalizations replace action. The subtlety of these influences makes them especially dangerous because they often feel normal or acceptable until we stop to reflect on the lack of progress in our lives. The key to overcoming this enemy is awareness and intentionality. It requires examining the people and environments we allow to occupy our mental space and asking whether they truly support our growth or hold us back. Surrounding ourselves with positive, driven, and ambitious individuals encourages accountability, fosters creativity, and nurtures belief in our own capabilities. Positive associations act like fuel for the journey toward success, providing encouragement when motivation wanes, sharing insight when the path is unclear, and modeling behaviors that lead to achievement. Making deliberate choices about who and what influences us is not selfish. It is necessary for growth. We must prioritize our personal development, seek out mentors and peers who inspire excellence, and distance ourselves from relationships that drain energy or diminish confidence. Change does not require abandoning people who have been part of our lives, but it does require boundaries, discernment, and a commitment to nurturing influences that align with the life we want to create. Growth is a reflection of the environment we cultivate within ourselves and around ourselves, and by intentionally choosing associations that elevate rather than limit, we create space for learning, progress, and the courage to pursue ambitions without hesitation. Limiting influences shrink our vision, stifle creativity, and instill fear. But by embracing positive connections, accountability, and supportive networks, we expand possibilities, strengthen resilience, and create momentum that carries us forward towards success. Fear of failure is one of the most common and destructive forces that hold people back from reaching their full potential. It is a silent enemy that creeps into the mind, convincing us that trying and falling short is worse than never trying at all. Fear of failure creates hesitation, self-doubt, and a constant need for reassurance, and it robs us of opportunities before we even begin. It convinces us that our dreams are too risky, that the effort required is too great, or that we are not capable enough to succeed. Yet the reality is that failure is not the opposite of success. It is an essential part of the journey toward achievement. Every successful person, every innovator, every leader has faced setbacks, disappointments, and mistakes. And it is through these experiences that true growth occurs. Fear of failure paralyzes potential because it prevents action, and without action, goals remain abstract, dreams remain unfulfilled, and abilities remain dormant. It creates a mindset where safety and comfort are prioritized over challenge and progress, and the desire to avoid embarrassment or judgment outweighs the pursuit of growth. The mind interprets failure as an endpoint, a reflection of inadequacy, rather than as feedback, a learning opportunity, or a stepping stone toward improvement. Overcoming the fear of failure requires a shift in perspective, an understanding that mistakes are valuable teachers rather than reflections of personal worth. It demands courage to step into uncertainty, to take risks, and to embrace vulnerability, because these are the conditions in which real progress is made. Those who confront their fear of failure develop resilience, adaptability, and confidence, because each attempt, whether successful or not, strengthens the ability to persist, to refine strategies, and to persevere. Fear of failure is also often magnified by comparison, by looking at the success of others and assuming that we must perform perfectly on the first attempt. Yet progress is never linear, and no one achieves mastery without a series of trials, errors, and adjustments along the way. Understanding that failure is part of the natural process allows us to approach challenges with curiosity rather than dread, with determination rather than hesitation. It transforms obstacles into opportunities for learning and setbacks into motivation for improvement. The antidote to this fear is action, consistency, and a willingness to step outside of comfort zones. Taking steps toward a goal, even small ones, diminishes fear by replacing uncertainty with experience. Each attempt builds competence, confidence, and courage, creating momentum that propels further action and reduces the paralyzing grip of doubt. Fear of failure may attempt to dictate decisions, delay progress, and limit potential, but choosing to act despite fear, embracing challenges as opportunities, and learning from every mistake turns fear into fuel, setbacks into lessons, and hesitation into decisive movement toward the life we want to create. Progress is not a matter of luck, talent, or circumstance. It is the natural outcome of the daily choices we make, the small decisions that accumulate over time to shape our lives, our habits, and our future. Every action we take, no matter how seemingly insignificant, contributes to a trajectory that either moves us closer to our goals or keeps us stuck in the same place. Choosing to act, to commit, and to persevere, even when conditions are not ideal, is what separates those who achieve from those who merely wish. Daily choices determine whether we nurture growth or allow stagnation, whether we invest in learning or squander opportunities, whether we focus on solutions or linger in excuses. Each day presents countless crossroads where decisions define character and shape destiny. Choosing to rise early and dedicate time to personal growth, to prioritize important tasks over trivial distractions, and to take responsibility for our actions establishes momentum that compounds into achievement. Conversely, choosing comfort, avoidance, or hesitation gradually erodes potential, leaving dreams unfulfilled and ambitions unrealized. The power of daily choices lies in their consistency. One isolated act of discipline or courage may be admirable, but true progress is created through repetition, through the conscious selection of actions that align with long-term goals. Every successful person understands that the quality of their life is the direct reflection of the quality of their daily decisions, that habits, routines, and priorities are far more important than occasional bursts of effort or fleeting motivation. Daily choices also shape mindset. Choosing to focus on solutions rather than problems, to seek opportunities rather than obstacles, and to embrace learning rather than blame creates a mental environment that fosters growth. Conversely, allowing negative influences, procrastination, fear, or excuses to dominate the mind limits vision, stifles creativity, and reduces resilience. The cumulative effect of these choices is enormous. Small, consistent decisions compound over weeks, months, and years into results that can feel disproportionate to the effort of a single day. Recognizing this power shifts responsibility squarely onto the individual, emphasizing that progress is not dependent on outside conditions, luck, or timing, but on the deliberate exercise of will and judgment in everyday life. The practice of making intentional choices requires clarity, focus, and self-awareness. It demands identifying priorities, understanding values, and committing to actions that align with long-term objectives. It also requires courage to make decisions that may be uncomfortable in the moment, but serve a greater purpose over time. Success is not created by dramatic events or sudden breakthroughs. It is created by the consistent accumulation of small, deliberate choices, each one reinforcing discipline, focus, and purpose. Daily choices determine whether we live passively or actively, reactively or proactively, settling for mediocrity or striving for excellence. Every habit, every action, and every decision is a vote cast for the person we become, the life we lead, and the achievements we realize. Understanding that progress is the result of these daily decisions empowers us to take control, to act with intention, and to embrace responsibility for the outcomes of our lives, transforming ordinary days into extraordinary results.